I think we had this. You had this twice, and I'm gonna have it again. I'll let you guess.
Porter. I don't remember any of the porters.
All right.
Stouts. Oh, that one again.
There it is.
I forgot that that was a porter, I guess. I was thinking it was
Yeah,
a
I thought
stout.
this was a stout, but
Yeah.
apparently it's a porter. And I know you had it twice, but I'm gonna have it because I did like it.
Well, now you've had it twice.
Yep.
Cheers, mix, click, and code with Boozy browsing, sipping and fixing the web one cocktail at a time.
I need your help on deciding which one to drink. I actually, with all the leftovers I just brought together, I got it down to
Yeah.
3 contenders. Not gonna say. So it's a porter, pale ale, and IPA.
I mean, you got to go with the porter, but I'd make you drink the IPA just to see your disgusting face, like disgusted
I'll
face.
go with the porter.
You're going with the porter, you said?
Yes,
Yep.
because
Probably
I
good
was
choice.
actually leaning towards that, but it was slightly indecisive. But this is a very common. I think we had this. You had this twice, and I'm gonna have it again. I'll let you guess.
Porter. I don't remember any of the porters.
All right.
Stouts. Oh, that one again.
There it is.
I forgot that that was a porter, I guess. I was thinking it was
Yeah,
a
I thought
stout.
this was a stout, but
Yeah.
apparently it's a porter. And I know you had it twice, but I'm gonna have it because I did like it.
Well, now you've had it twice.
Yep. There we go.
Well, I'm going with a totally new one because a friend of mine just brought a random bottle over a while back, and it's not going to come up on camera, I don't think. 'Cause it's so weird. It's like yeah, I got some accessibility issues with this logo.
I don't
I
know.
can barely read it. So I don't have a lot of lighting. It's the name of it's White River Saison. Um, and it's Ferment Brewing Company. Yeah, I can't. I don't know if it's just. I think that's how they printed it. Is really light on a yellow background.
Can you read it? Like, is it just camera it's not showing, or can you even read it?
No, I could barely. I mean, it's kind of dark in my office right now with the regular lighting, but still, it's a really light yellow. So I can't read the description in here. White River Saison. That's all I can read because it's nice and bold. And then it's a longer description of what it is. Let's see how it tastes. Oop. Mm. Tastes like a Saison. It's yeah. It's not really a bottle to drink. Like I don't know if you can see the shape of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have a hard time drinking it out of the bottle. It should have been poured. Whatever.
Oh, really? I actually
Y-
brought my
It's
chalice,
got a
but
really thin neck, so it doesn't
it's hard to
really
drink.
pour.
You constantly get like bowls.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna put this in here.
No.
Oh.
Oh, I'm still dealing with a head cold.
You'll forget it with alcohol.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be better for my head cold.
Yeah.
It's a good
Well, and
drink.
also it's like the whole cold front is all over the world. Not just
Yeah,
US.
Florida's
World.
getting some winter this week finally. Oh,
Well, so today's topic is uh AI driven personalization hype. Because it's a very spoke about word. Is that a word? Talked about word
yeah.
term, I would say, in marketing, especially in marketing world. So, and then with AI, anything with AI, it's just like hype. I mean, it's hype, but at the same time,
Buzzword.
yeah. Is it a
Yeah.
real hype or is it a hype because it's a buzzword? So,
I feel like there's I mean, we're gonna get into it, but without looking at some of the details, I feel like some of these are market like companies that have created products
Mm-hmm.
that actually don't have a true solution. They're
Yeah.
just using the marketing buzzwords.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing to look like. We didn't go deep into what products are like that, but there are a fair amount of products out there that are around AI personalization that are not. They're just put. It's like other products out there that are saying that they're AI driven
Mm-hmm.
when it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like I think I was saying, I have cameras and stuff that are like AI powered. That's There's not an AI engine in like it's not a thing. They might have developed it with AI, the
Right.
marketing side of it, but yeah.
It's not.
Um,
Yeah. So I looked up the definition first because we have a quick presentation about what we're going to talk about, but it didn't really dive into. We assume that you know what it is, and I by the name of it, I guessed it too. But you also let me know about different angles, so it didn't go to that yet. But the definition that what I asked about what AI driven personalization is at its core, it is the use of machine learning and deep learning to deliver unique experiences to individuals, not just segments in real time.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's the definition of it. And the shift was traditional personalization, just put people into buckets because woman in 20s to 34, like urban area. Whereas AI personalization is supposed to treat every user as a segment of one, predicting what they want before they even click. In theory, great. Scary at the same time, but great.
I
But
think the real time part of that is the hardest part. Like
mhm,
identifying there's so much there's so much protection out there right now around like being able to identify a person the way you used to be able to,
right.
that now without that ability, unless they're signed in and unless they're truly identified, the idea that you can then before they click help them decide what they want,
Mhm,
um, you have to you're basically getting generalizations in a best guess,
right.
I would say, on a website.
So
But
let me share what we have slides for. I actually have two different sets of slide, but we can get to that. Let me just get to
I mean, you have your multiple monitors in that room now set up.
yeah. Finally. All right. So AI driven personalization and marketing behind the hype, what really works is the goal of our conversation today. Wait, wait, wait. Yeah. So the promise is great. That's probably why a lot of people are looking at it, especially marketing. The promise that they're saying is that pretty much like higher numbers, higher
Yeah,
stats, better results is what's promised. I mean, like if you can go to the hyper personalization at scale, real time content adaptation, predictable recommendation. I think you talked about the real time is the difficult section, but in reality, as you said, is it really AI? And is the number increase that you see really helping? I think that's probably the bottom line. You can see the number grows, but does that mean it's really helping your organization?
yeah.
So some of these stats actually these are backed by I think McKinsey, Forrester, and forgot one of the other one, but I'll look at it. But yeah, so like some of the numbers and defining personalization and engine behind the experience because this is actually like I said this reason why I just read the definition of it because it just goes over the tech stack of what is behind the scene to actually implement it, and we can even go over from everything because like how where you can lack if you implement it incorrectly.
Right. I think that the critical thing here that some people will miss when they think about these tools and they're like, oh, let's add it to our site. And therefore we're going to get that whatever percent, the
Mhm.
74, 78% increase. Right. Well,
Yeah,
it's that data collection that has to happen.
right.
And if you're either not able to do it or haven't been doing it, um, you're not going to get those results initially. So it's going to take time
Hmm.
depending on your audience, how often they come back, how often they use the site, how long they use the site. All those things matter on how quick you're going to actually get the benefits.
Yeah, and I think it's correct. And I was reading through this before, and data collection and the data, like the clean data, and then usefulness of the data and credibility of the data is what really makes it successful. But if that's not the case, a lot of times you might not know which data you're collecting and then what data that needs to be fit in to do the true personalization that you're looking for
Yeah.
will be muddy up everything pretty much. And then after that, it's a cycle of just kind of mud up data. It's like what do you call it? Um, Hallucination and all those things started because the data isn't clean or what you're looking for. So yeah, business case, impressive ROI numbers. This is another thing because you see the number grow, but because that's like what was problem. I think it's 299% increase in ROI in 3 years and 40 more percent revenue, 6 times higher transaction rate, 26% conversion increase when it works.
Right.
But I'm also very curious
Well,
about numbers.
well, I love how, I mean, we're obviously translating them as if
Yeah.
the way that these places translate or market them, right? Like big uptake, 299% return on investment. Your investment is relatively small financially,
Yeah.
so it's not a 390 or 299% growth. It's that $100, $1,000 a month investment
Mhm.
now makes you $3,000 or $300. Like, it's the dollar amount is not actually your percent of your income. Is the
Right.
investment, which isn't that much for some of these tools.
That's a very good point. I wasn't even thinking in that angle, but it
Yeah.
really makes sense to really understand what you're looking for, like ROI. When you just throw acronyms, people just think, "Oh, cool! It's like 299% up."
Yeah.
But like you said, if you just spend $100 for your this initiative and you're coming up with what, like $3,000, that's not. Yeah,
After 3 years.
yeah,
I mean, it's also one of those things where there's the causation correlation type event here, where if you're if you're now all of a sudden focused on trying to make these improvements, so you add this tool, right?
mm,
This is something I see all the time, where you add this tool, but you're also focused on, and you find all these other fixes. Like, those fixes might have been the reason why you have 300% return on investment, but
yeah,
you know, which might be a 1% increase at best sometimes, right? That might have just been because like, your team fixed some things
mhm,
uh, that should have been fixed without adding a new widget, tool, whatever.
right,
I'm not saying you shouldn't use these tools and you shouldn't use personalization,
yeah.
because they
We're just
definitely
talking
should have
about
some improvement.
Yeah, we're just talking about like the actual the
Mhm.
truth about it, not just the things that are like blown up as an advertising thing. But the
Right.
realistic things that are actually happening in the background, because that's the one that we wanted to focus on to highlight in this. And also, even 6 times higher transaction rate. What transaction are we talking about? Like emails? Like, let's say that if they just add a bunch of different people, you're not completely your target audience, and then they all opened, that doesn't mean anything for 6 times higher open rate or whatever rate, transaction rate, depending on what transaction you're looking for.
Right.
And we've seen that too. So it the number, big number for the whole like I always get a little skeptical when the numbers are way too good to be
Yeah.
true.
Too good to be true.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah. And then so because of all the hype or all the bloated advertising or whatever, consumers' expectations are high and rising. 71% expects personalization, 76 gets frustrated without it, but I'm not sure. Okay, well, anyway, we'll get to that. So demand is that. Um, so there's opportunity of 60% expect customer content, 33 high lifetime value, 3 times revenue growth. So that's the expectation now.
Right. Yeah, people expect something to be basically hyper like customized to
Right.
that at this point. For the most part, because again, it's part of like the expectation is set at the very initial stages of they typically will start at an LLM, ChatGPT, whatever, um, with some interaction, and that interaction already knows about them. We talked about this earlier.
Right.
Like that's where the true personalization is going to be happening because they're spending time there and they actually, know the user because they've been asking it all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the personalization happens with the fact that they're now being sent to a very specific page, maybe, or maybe even a whole checkout process. But
Right.
now when they get to a web page and it doesn't know part of that conversation or know some of that kind of journey or
Right.
flow, they can get frustrated as a user and then they have to restart potentially.
Yeah. And leading to that, there's a gap now because there's implementation gap and planning and execution. And it's like, yeah, so actually implement things end to end correctly to have remove that frustration is very difficult. And I don't even know if there's any place that perfected it. It's probably in progress in a lot of places that some things are better and some things are not. But at the same time, the gap is what is making it interesting because I think this is the part that I wanted to also highlight is that a lot of people, like I think the stats from was like McKinsey and Forrester was 90% of the companies or organization had plans to implement this.
Right.
But in reality, only 29% implemented it, whatever the version that it's working or not. And also, there's like 70% failure rates within 18 months, meaning that they probably didn't implement it correctly. So they just keep going back and forth. So there's like a whole gap of, they call it a pilot purgatory. I think it's like a analysis paralysis type of state that you're just thinking about it, researching it, and trying to plan for it for so long, you never actually executed it.
Yeah, I think this is a common IT kind of implementation
Mhm.
thing, right? Where they've planned it out, they've researched it, and by the time they get ready to implement it, either they're going to implement it wrong because they don't pick the right partner. They're just going to try to do it themselves. Let's say the IT side, and they're
Right.
not going to do it with a web partner. Or by the time they do it, it's already too late, and there's already 5 other products that can do it better, and the whole market has moved past it.
Right.
Um, I mean, if you started early last year with planning something out, and now you're implementing it now, I mean, can you imagine trying to implement something that was rolled out in February, March last year?
Yeah.
Now, like it's totally different.
Yeah.
The abilities, the data model, everything about it would be totally different.
I don't know if I had this conversation with you or someone else. I've just had this conversation lately. And someone says something about they're not going to implement it because by the time they actually roll it out, it's going to be obsolete. I was like,
Well, I think that was a
true.
reality last year for sure for a lot of things. Not
Right.
just even if they were pretty fast.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of things by the time you could get it implemented and tested, with all the data pulling in, the reality was it was probably everything had moved past it.
Right.
Um,
And it's progressing way too fast to actually spend your time to roll it out.
for the most part.
Right.
Uh,
So, and also, trust deficit 33% of consumer react negatively, which makes sense. I think we actually had this episode about we're getting a little creeped out by all this weird trying to over personalize. That was one of our things. But one of the items that we want to make sure that you don't want to over personalize to make people don't think that they're big brothers to them, big brother to them.
yeah, I think some products were making some, I guess, educated guesses. Like this is just in our experience, right? Things that I was looking at, checking out, and
Mhm.
I was getting recommendations for just funnel down to a path was like, well, this website should not have known that I do any of that,
Right.
like have any of those other hobbies or anything like that. Like at a certain point, if you act like you know too much, it's
Yeah.
going to put people off. Like
Yeah.
it's somewhat of a fine line because you obviously want to upsell or you want to put them down a certain path of selling them. But again, your users are pretty advanced at this point. They understand how you get some of the data,
Mhm.
whether it's through purchasing data or not. They understand that you're getting it in ways that they may or may not trust.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you're making educated guesses and you are, even if you're right, that could be a bad thing, honestly.
Yeah. And not only just for the whole creepy factor to it, but there's also I think we had this conversation with our one of our partner meeting that someone just don't like chatbots. So
Right.
having you forced to use the chatbot to get something you want will make them not happy about this.
Right.
Yeah, on top of all this, like other AI label, lower purchase intent, and at 50% see AI as a threat. Yeah, I can see that, especially like because of the whole the hypes and people have negative effects on some of these, even though there can be some good things to it. But yeah, there's all that weird trust deficit that's going on with all this. And leading into the creepy factor we talked about. Yeah, 46% says tailored promotion feels creepy, and I think you even said that because well, when we're doing some demo of site audit, when you're trying to go through the checkout process,
Yeah.
you get the weird experience that is like it knows a little too much about me.
Yeah. But I think part of that is a reality, in my opinion, or my knowledge, it's it's taking guesses based
Mhm.
on, some edge case or not edge case, but like some data that it thinks it has about me.
Mhm.
Um, some of it's because of my actions on the website, I suppose, but a
Right.
lot of times I think it's just because general users of going to this product now should want all these other things based on its model.
Mhm.
And it's not, it used to be just based on tagging and like, oh, this is similar. That was okay. But now I think they're making the LLM models, whatever you're adding to it, right?
Yeah.
They're making guesses that feel a little too accurate sometimes, but are not.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. So like all this information, like we talked about this at one point, that it's making people uncomfortable if it's too much.
mhm.
And there were features that will make people uncomfortable, but this is a little different story now that it feels like they're just scraping your information and just guessing and then try to come up
Yeah.
with something about it.
I think also some of this depends on the type of site, right? Like if you're on a site or if you're a company that is very specialized in a market,
Mhm.
like we deal with outdoor type companies, right? If they do a certain set of products,
Mhm.
then yeah, like it's not creepy to recommend something that's very likely that the user is going to use because of the data.
Right.
Because it's just part of the like, yeah, it's another one of your products. It's obviously something that I might want or have.
Mhm.
But if you're a more generalized e-commerce platform that has, I don't know, skincare plus outdoor gear and like all the things, and you're recommending me a certain sunscreen or something, I don't know. Like it gets more weird the broader your product set, I think, is, and you're trying to upsell certain things that, again, it's based on conversations I've had or other searches. It
Yeah.
gets pretty creepy.
Yeah. Like a little bit outside of the norm.
Mhm.
Um, that something a little too specific about me kind of thing. Well, so there are failures on this implementations and backlashes. I didn't know about these, but I probably
Yeah,
before, but like, yeah, there's a Marvel Secret Invasion in 2023, which is pretty recent. And intro credits, results public backlash and artist criticism. Sports Illustrated,
I
fake it.
remember that one. It was almost all their content was AI generated early on.
Yeah,
Um,
so that I get, and then
Levi. Yeah.
Levi's, yeah, and yeah.
I
So
I think that idea, the AI models sort of like there's a lot of commercials out there now that are now AI generated.
Mhm.
And I notice it because, we try to generate some
Mhm.
video stuff for us. Obviously, some of the promo stuff we do is AI generated because
Yeah.
caricatures and stuff like that. But the stuff that's supposed to be like video content of real people, it's pretty. I mean, yes, it's good. It's like quote unquote good, but it's pretty obvious when it's not real. I feel like,
I
and
wrote
when you
about this.
see
Yeah.
what
I wrote about this. It's called Uncanny Valley. I
right,
only know this because it was when I was doing 3D animation
yeah,
for whatever. It was a thing. So that's I don't know if I explained it to you. That's why Polar Express freak everyone out because it was
mhm,
a little too real looking, and they know it's not real people. And the weird jiggered movement, all these things that you will normally expect for normal people
right,
was freaking people out. So Beowulf and then Polar Express was a classic example. It freaked out a lot of kids and they all were crying in the theater. And so there's a term called uncanny valley. So that's why a lot of things that I try to put as a 3D is caricature, not the real people. Because you as a person know that like people has the weird micro interactions that like not weird like you're expected to have micro interactions even though you don't recognize it. If that's not there, you know it's fake and it creeps people out. So
yeah.
that's probably what you're looking at because like they all you see all this like weird actors but they're not real
It's just a
people.
weird, like,
Yeah.
it's head movements and just things that are very off for a
Right.
human or for even for I mean, obviously, any content has been very, very edited and,
Yeah.
like, even real people, right? So that there's an aspect to that, but I don't feel like the AI generated stuff is as edited. I think they cut
Mhm.
out the editors also, and they just good enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they saved a bunch of money, just throw it up there. And yeah, if it doesn't if it's not made to look fake, like you were saying, like the true caricature, like things like that, if
Yeah.
they try and make it look real, it gets worse.
Yeah, even the whole professional photo apps. I think this we're when we're trying to do some like um what do you call it? Title image for certain things. It just looks so creepy that
Mhm.
actually like we can't use this. Because I'll just take a picture and send it to you because like it doesn't look normal person.
Yep.
It's just like it was just so creepy. But yeah, so that's like people naturally know that it freaks people out when it's a little bit off on the real people. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, key lessons here, I guess, is disclosure and non-negotiable. Right. So I always have trouble pronouncing this word.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, especially when I'm drinking, is way higher weighted
Yeah.
than efficiency. So
Yep.
you need to always be keep in mind of that. And context matters because yeah, that's actually a very important point. All right. So I think this is a little more than we want to cover. So this is like how
Right.
they really implement this. We can cover it in a separate thing when we're but for now I'm just gonna skip through it. Um yeah, I don't know if you wanted to get into too much detail into B2B personalization because
Some
we want
newsletter
to
slides were more detailed than I can do after a few drinks.
yeah. So I want to highlight best practices using AI without undermining the trust is transparency, oversight, value. I think those are the three things that you can start with. Yeah, be transparent about labeling it and making sure the opt-out option to not be part of that.
I think for number one, like, I have a pet peeve around this where people label it as if it's um we're using AI. Sorry if it's not perfect. That's not what this means. Like to
No
me, that's just a like you're not even
excuse.
gonna try. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an excuse for not even trying. Basically, this is more around like yes, we are trying something. I hope it works really well. Give us some feedback, maybe.
Mhm.
that's a lot different than you could like use your best judgment on this content type of disclaimer. That's different.
Yeah, I agree on that end. And also, I think it's opt-out option is also pretty something that
Right.
people don't put it because
Yeah.
like some people might not want to be using the AI stuff. Like they're willing to just look
All
for it,
maybe.
right?
Right.
And they keep human in the loop. So it's like you want to make sure that there's human touch to it, and because even when you're using LLMs, that you look at it, and I was like, whoa, this is not what I said, or not what I wanted. So you want to make sure that it is actually following the directions you're putting in, or the intent that you had to implement this thing.
Yeah, this to me it also bleeds into number 3 though, because especially for the real time stuff, you can't really put a human in between it. But
Right.
if you add in the third part of testing it, like you need to be very on top of the data that how it's affecting your site. Like we talked about the 300% over 3 years. Well, if you're measuring every 3 years, you're screwed. Like you
Yeah.
need to be measuring it instantly and seeing if that's going to be a progression that you're going to have improvements. Um, and then also testing it from like a usability and user perspective around biases and accuracy.
Yeah. Yeah. And just validate the content, and also like make sure that it is actually helping you. You should probably always put in there.
Yeah, because like you could test about like, oh, my checkout, like my whatever, my numbers are going up, right?
Mhm.
Well, cool. But does that mean that you're pissing off a percentage of your users that were actually going to come back tomorrow and that,
Right.
or next year, or whatever? Like
Right.
you want to make sure that you're balancing your numbers really well around the
Right.
accuracy around that.
Yep. And focus on value, not AI. Like, yes, just don't get attached to the hype buzzword, but making sure that it's actually doing something for your organization. It's
Yeah.
like the shiny object syndrome too, but shiny object is only shiny when it can help you. And respect privacy. Well, obviously, there's a lot of things that overlook this. This is should be the baseline of everything, but sometimes it gets disregarded, unfortunately.
Yep.
Well, so yeah, so it's kind of highlighting what we talked about. Promises certain things, but there's actual gap, and people get freaked out by it. So business metrics might be high, like just what you just highlighted. It might look like it's increasing, but
Yeah.
consumers might be pissed off, and they're never going to come back.
Yeah. Make sure you're not just getting a short term win for whatever you've implemented or changed.
Right.
It's going to have a long term effect on either your brand or people returning to do more business. Or maybe, well, this is a harder to measure. I was just thinking about this one. If you're giving up too much information to these products,
Hmm.
um, this is like a foreshadowing. I feel like of I've been in the business long enough when Facebook came around and all the digital media companies like latched onto it because it was then sending them all the people. Well,
Right.
then now everyone goes to social media instead of the digital media companies. Same idea with the LLMs. Like, yeah, sure, we need to give them all our data because they're giving us all the people. Well, we're already seeing the people getting locked into the LLM and
Hmm.
not really leaving that ecosystem.
Right.
Whether it's them being able to check out, which you're going to get, you're fulfilling it, but they're getting a piece of it. That doesn't like that that's a 4% now for Shopify, let's say, and it's not like 4% on top of what you're already doing. It's a piece of it, but the more they lock their users into that ecosystem, that world, the less likely they're going to find you from natural sources, and they're
Hmm.
only going to find you from there. And then they decide to pick the people that they prefer to send their people to. Like it's a little foreshadowing, little doom and gloom, I guess, maybe. But the reality is, the more you lock into these other third parties, the more likely you're going to limit and isolate yourself from the ability to actually have interactions with the people.
Right. Yeah. So critical questions before you're implementing it. So yeah, it's something that you should always be considering before you implement anything, or if you try to adopt anything about what's trending or whatever. But at the same time, just to reiterate and highlight that you need to make sure this is actually good for your business. It's going to help your organization. Since I have strategy, what problems are we solving? Or are we just
Yeah.
trying to see the increase in numbers? Or what are we always actually trying to solve? And do we have data infrastructure, which is like, yeah, you need to have a clean data to make sure this works correctly. And are we committed to transparency, which is, yeah, you need to. Otherwise, you're going to creep people out and just make them leave all the time. Um,
Some of
yeah.
the capability also, like
Yeah.
I was mentioning, like if you're using a SaaS product, let's say some type of plug and play, you're then giving away that data, and they're the ones storing it. They're the ones benefiting from it, versus you being able to implement it yourself. If you have the capabilities, the data, the infrastructure, to do it yourself, I think that's kind of the better play, because you're able to also test things a little bit more, and you know your data. Your team knows your data quite a bit more, and your users, versus just using an off the shelf type um, data platform.
Well, and then you need to have the right people implementing it correctly.
You do.
Otherwise, it's not going to be helpful. It's just like you just have it for the sake of having it doesn't work. Going with the data privacy governance, we highlighted a lot. And yeah, some of the risks, you should be aware of some of the risks that comes with it and be prepared to fix it when it arises.
Yeah.
And yeah, the red flags is like, don't do it because everyone's doing it. And don't do it if you don't have a clear metrics on what you're looking for. Because the numbers may be catering it to what you want to believe, but it might not be really helping you. Yeah, so tech first, not problem first.
I think there's also another risk of not doing it though.
Mhm.
Like there are in this like in our current market, if unless your product, your offering is so unique that no one else is providing anything like it, and you've got that market cornered, let's say, for an old
Yeah.
term, then so in that case, fine, whatever, just do your thing, do your static website. But the reality is you're competing with other people, and they are trying these types of things, and they are
Right.
trying and winning at certain areas of it, um, very quickly, and they're going to be pulling market share away from you on a daily basis. Like they're even if they're not even out in the market yet, they're copying you. Let's say they're copying your products, and they're gonna start marketing it there in ways like this,
Mhm.
and they're gonna take over pretty quickly. Like it doesn't take a whole lot to launch a new product these days,
Right.
or a new offering, new company.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know where to start and you already started, but you want to check on your sanity check, yeah, some of the recommendations, balance, path forward. Yeah. So, well, transparency, obviously, you want to make sure that you have it. Focus on value creation. Like, yeah, just don't chase the numbers that you don't know or it doesn't mean anything to you. Just focus on the values and numbers that matters to you. And implement strategically. Yeah. And then keep human central. But yeah, you have to have
I
human
see a typo in our slide.
involved. Where?
Implement strategically. Use 3D
Oh.
framework.
No. It's a 5D framework. It's
Oh,
from Kenzie.
oh, so they took
The
our
one
3D framework and made it 5. So they have 2 extra things, and they're
yeah. That's the
dimensional.
one that I overlooked. It's the implementation portion of it. Because like current
Oh,
implementation of how personalization work, I only know this because I was looking into it. Because when you told me about how people information is all more accurate
yeah.
in LLMs, I've had that evaluate, like, so how is it implemented now and going forward? It's is will the people ever go to websites to do anything, or they're gonna stay in LLM, and what is the strategy for this? So
Oh,
I
yeah.
looked that up. This is why I know it. There's a separate follow-up presentation for it, but we can probably do it as a follow-up episode. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
McKinsey's 5D framework to implement personalization correctly.
Let's be real. If you're hiring McKinsey, you're probably not listening to Boozy Browsing and wanting people like us to come out and hang out and actually give you real world advice.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of data from the McKinsey experts.
Yeah. It's actually it's state of how it's implemented
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
versus how it should be, how it will pivot.
Right.
Anyways, but that was the whole 5D framework. Human central, monitor both sides. Yes, business metrics and trust metrics, because you need to have a balancing act, because business metrics may go up, but your trust might go down, like we talked about over down the years. But you want to make sure that those are both balancing so that you're actually achieving long-term goals.
Some of that can be just like somewhat gut feeling, right? Like if you're implementing this and you're a product owner or product manager and you feel like as you're testing it, it's like, well, this doesn't feel right. Well, guess what? The real people using your site are definitely not going to feel very right, like that you're doing the right thing.
Mhm.
Like you can test it, obviously, but you don't even need to roll it out if it doesn't feel right. And if you just think you're going to get a quick win, but it's questionable, then
Right.
hold it.
Yeah. So that's the slides that I had, but it's interesting to think about if you already implemented it, or if you're thinking about implementing it, you're in that pilot paralysis thing. You want to consider a lot of different things, because at the end of the day, it has to help your business. It has to help
Right.
your organization. Just hype numbers or hyped buzzword or implementation isn't the way. You want to understand what you're looking for exactly to improve it truly. That's my thoughts.
Those are good thoughts. Yeah, I don't have anything else in conclusion. I concluded each frame, I feel like each slide.
You did,
Uh,
because we actually had a wrapping point of, like, if it's consistent, well, not consistency. What are we talking about? It was effectiveness, authenticity, and
right.
transparency. Really.
I feel like, I mean, we were vague on purpose on a lot of these things because we didn't want to like call out like specific products out there because it's not like every product out there is doing things shady at all.
Mm.
Or even their marketing info is shady at all. I think it's more about they all have different varying degrees on individual markets or individual companies that make it feel shady or feel like it's not going to be implemented correctly.
Mhm.
So each one is more of a case by case basis than we would want to list out.
Correct. Well, I finished mine. Porter.
I didn't even come close. This was a big bottle.
Oh, is it? Didn't.
Yeah, I mean it's a 20 something ounce probably.
Oh, yeah, mine was 12. So
Hmm.
I'm happily buzzed. So on that note,
Definitely, mine definitely fixed my cold though. I can definitely don't have any nasal issues anymore. I'm sure, as people can hear.
alcohol fixes it all.
I
All
don't know about maybe whiskey.
right.